Happy New Year, everyone. You're listening to the DeCesare Group Podcast. Welcome back. I'm your host, Jim DeCesare, and I'm glad you're here. You know, just before Christmas, we released our 100th episode. If you missed it, be sure to check out our conversation with Santa Claus himself. We've had so many great guests over the past almost 3 years. They're all available anywhere you listen to podcasts and on our website, DeCesareGroup.com. We're very excited about 2026 and continue to bring you fun and informative episodes around business, economic development, and leadership, which brings us to our guest today. We're kicking off 2026 with Dave Deerman, executive coach, author, speaker, and longtime ministry leader. Over his 43 years in ministry, Dave has served as a church planter, lead pastor of a 1,000-member congregation, executive pastor in 2 megachurches, and an executive in real estate research. Today, he works with MVP Leader Group, a nonprofit that supports ministry and Christian business leaders with mental, physical, and spiritual encouragement. MVP currently serves 400 pastor couples and 80 business couples, helping unite pastors and business leaders to impact their communities for faith, family, and finances. Here's my conversation with Dave Deerman. Dave, welcome to the DeCesare Group Podcast.
Jim, thank you. It's a privilege to be here.
And Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year and another year for the DeCesare Group. That's awesome.
Right. Yeah, here we go. I think this is we're rolling into our 6th year.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. So, hey, tell us about MVP. What's going on with that organization?
Well, in 2019, MVP started, and it was started to honor, encourage, and connect ministry leaders and marketplace leaders. Faith-based, and a guy named Terry Allen, his wife Sam, they started this ministry seeing the need for particular ministry leaders initially for a place just to be a safe place for them to hang out, find encouragement. We started with what we call fast break events where pastors and their wives would be invited to major sports events and just hang out. We'd underwrite it. They'd hang out. We'd take them to a great dinner and put them up in a nice hotel and just a place for them to get away.
Yeah.
Year and a half ago, Terry wanted to crank up the marketplace side, and that's whenever I came on to help reach out to marketplace leaders all across America.
That's fantastic. So why is this type of ministry important for ministers?
Well, in the ministry, the pressure of just carrying the load of spiritual destinies of people and that part of ministry, they need a safe place where they can just unload. They can talk. Areas they may need help to debrief or just to unload or be encouraged. So we started it for that reason, and also pastors' wives.
Yeah.
And we started out in a concept of sports teams. So our gathering of pastors is called MVP Locker Room.
Yeah.
And so they come in there, man, they'll start off the first 15, 20 minutes just talking about sports and all that. And then we have a lesson or somebody tells their story or whatever. It's just a place for them to get away.
And there's no towel snapping because you do most of this online, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah, there's nobody. We're not in actually a locker room in our take a shower.
Don't say anything.
Stuff.
Don't go any further. But, you know, a few weeks ago, you and I were having coffee, and you were telling me about this organization. And one of the main aspects of this is because a lot of pastors and ministers, whether they're in a big church, a large church, or a small church, or a medium-sized church, part of this is to help them take advantage of their parishioners. And, you know, every church has a good business leader in there. And, you know, you have to tithe to the church, and you have to have some knowledge of how business and operations are run. And a lot of times, you know, the ministers are really good at preaching the gospel, but on the administrative and business side, they could sometimes use some coaching.
Well, without a doubt. I mean, I've been in ministry. I'm a 4th-generation pastor, so my whole world for the last 40 years has been in the church and in the marketplace. And pastors, we sometimes can forget that it's actually business people, marketplace people that are in the church that are giving, that support us.
Right.
And we have a responsibility to help encourage and develop and cheer them on. You know, it's so trying to synergize and sync that relationship between ministry leaders, the pastors, to business people in the community. So,
yeah. And part of that is, you know, asking for money. You know, because you got to have money to operate a church or, you know, your missions in the church. And That's a hard thing to do, just like in politics. When you run for office, you got to go out and ask for money, and it's the hardest thing in the world to do.
No doubt about it. I mean, it's difficult. There's a stigma, I think, in ministry about asking for money and teaching about money. Yet at the same time, a pastor has vision, Jim, but without provision, that vision never happens.
That's an interesting term.
And so the anointing draws people to churches. Administrations keep them.
Yeah.
So you have this vision, provision, anointing, administration that is this working part between a pastor and the people that are in his congregation. And so that's just been the love of my life, is trying to work with those areas.
So with MVP, you have about 400 pastor couples.
Yes.
And then you have about 80 business people that you're associated with. And tell us how you get them together and what happens in that part of the
that's great.
program.
The pastors, there's about 300 to 400 ministry couples in that particular organization that I'm a part of. They meet, the ministers themselves meet on Thursdays. We have a Zoom call at 8:30 Central Time and 11 o'clock Central Time. We'll have 70 to 80 on the first call. We'll have 15 to 20 on the second call for people that are on the West Coast. And so they meet every week. Pastors' wives meet once a month. Business leaders, we meet every other week. So the first and third Mondays is how we all gather.
Yeah.
And then just next week, Jim, we've got, 150 couples that are coming to Gaylord. MVP Leader Group underwrites all this. We put them up for 2 nights, entertainment. In fact, we have a well-known comedian that's going to be there one night to entertain. I'm not going to say on this call. Oh, we're at the first. Anyway, it's exciting to see every Christmas. That's what we do. So
that's awesome. Well, fantastic. And that's part of what you all do is you bring everybody together and have these events so that they can synergize. And that's a word you used earlier, and I think that's a good term. So what areas do you cover when you all get together? What do y'all talk about?
Well, in the ministry side, it may be a Bible lesson, it may be a leadership lesson, it may be just somebody talking about what they've been through. Whenever the business leaders get together, we talk about leadership, things that pastors talk about a certain thing. Business leaders want to get to the point and have a point that will help them in the marketplace. So that's how we operate in those 2 different calls.
Yeah, and of course, and do those people get together on their own later? I mean, I'm sure that people are starting to make friendships through this operation as well. Yeah,
without a doubt. I mean, one of the best things I think that has happened is relationship.
Yeah.
It's the currency, man. Without relationships, nothing happens. And the pastors get together, the business leaders, pastors invite business guys. And so it's this cross-pollination really of what's going on there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And relationships are really the crux of any operation.
Absolutely.
And like it or not, churches are a business too, to some extent. I mean, you're in the business of saving souls, but at the same time, you have an operation to run.
Absolutely.
And most, a lot of people don't realize that. And unfortunately, in today's time, more and more people are getting away from, those organizations, whether it's churches or other organizations that have been around forever. They're all, not all of them, but there are some that are dying off.
Right.
And it's because either A, you don't have the membership that you used to have, and 2, or B, you don't have the finances that you need to keep the operation up and running.
Correct.
So those are some of the hurdles that you all overcome.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, a declining membership can bring uncertainty. Declining finances for sure creates uncertainty, and so it's a constant tension that's there that has to be worked to remedy.
It seems like, and I mentioned that there's a lot of nonprofit type organizations that are fading away, but at the same time, like in the last year, especially the last year, it seems like I've seen more people coming back to faith.
No doubt.
And, and whether it's because of some of the political things that are going on, or just because, people are getting tired of all the stuff happening on social media and in the news, they're coming back to God.
Yeah, that is absolutely one of the most remarkable things going on. And it doesn't matter what denominational background you're from or not. To watch what's been going on, I think after COVID, when we got COVID and there were so many people separated, when they come back, and then all the constant pressure that we find, whether it's politically, financially, whatever. I mean, they're looking for hope. You they're looking for relationship, and man, that's what a church that understands what they're about can meet that need on every side. Yeah, and it's the way God. God himself wants to be loved, accepted, needed, Jim. Yeah. And that's what the church should be doing, man, is helping people connect, be loved, accepted, needed, and encourage that. And it's remarkable what's happening all around the nation, around the world.
It is. And, unfortunately, after the Charlie Kirk assassination, and we don't talk a lot of politics on this podcast, and this isn't political, but I saw a shift, especially with young people. Going, hey, let's take a pause here and let's get back to, Scripture.
Yeah, I mean, my two kids came in after that happened for being in school, and when they came in, they were both so bothered. And I didn't really know, Jim, honest to goodness, I didn't even know they knew who Charlie Kirk was. Yeah. But we have watched just a push, and then for his service to be televised. Yeah. And the masses that watch that globally and internationally, nationally. And
in person.
Oh, that place was packed.
Yeah. I know someone here locally that went.
Yeah, it really was just a portrait, I think a picture, a painting of the hunger in our world for spiritual things, for unity, for agreement. Yeah, and it's really encouraging, actually.
And I think one of the main things that came out of all that, and there's, it was unfortunate, and nobody wants to see anybody lose their life, but I think there's been some silver linings through that, and one of the thing is we don't all have to agree, but we can at least get along.
Absolutely, we got to agree that we disagree. Yeah, man.
It's okay.
It is okay.
So talk about how you've added business personnel over the last year and a half, working with the pastors for 7 years and bringing the businesses in. How do you go about finding those folks?
Well, that's a great question. First, I started just out of my personal relationships. 40 years of ministry, started in 1983. We've got guys that are part of MVP on the business side from 1978 playing softball together.
Yeah. Church league.
Yeah. And one of those guys posted pictures of that particular church team on Facebook the other day, and we're like, I didn't even know that jersey still existed. But so from there, and then every ministry stop, I've had development with relationships. So it started that way. Secondly, we have pastors who invite a key business person in their church to come. This year we'll have an event in July in Dallas. We've done it for the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. 2026, it'll probably be the second week of July. We invite pastors. It's called MVP Business Sync. Mm-hmm. We invite pastors to invite a business person, fly into Dallas. We pay the expense once they get there, but at the event, we have a leading pastor who's worked with business people, and we have one of the leading business people in America. Last year we had a guy named Steve Miller, Jim, $600 million business making pallets.
Okay, not the musician.
No, not the musician. But it's incredible. So that's the second way we have pastors that are involved. And then third, we have business people inviting business people. Yeah. And that's how we built it.
That's awesome. And, of course, again, it's about connecting those folks so they can both learn off of each other.
Absolutely.
And help each other as well.
No doubt. It's cross-denomination. We go from Church of Christ to non-denominational. I mean, we have just a broad spectrum of business people. You know what's amazing to me, Jim, is whenever in working on the business side, people that are business people understand that we work together for economy and commerce and making a difference in communities. And man, my prayer has been in the church world, we can do the same thing, right? We name the cause of Christ and we get together and get after it. So,
and you would know this better than I do because I know some about the Bible. I don't know it as well as probably you do or as well as I should, but I believe the second most used word in the Bible is money.
Without a doubt.
And so it's there. And the way I understand it is that there's nothing wrong with making money. Just make sure you give some back.
Well, exactly. There's nothing wrong with it. And if you look scripturally, if you start in Genesis and go through Revelation, the majority of the people that are written about are marketplace people.
Right.
You know, when Jesus started his ministry, he took 12 business guys with him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Fisherman, tax collector, doctor.
Carpenters.
Yeah. I mean, so it is that. It's amazing to see that process happen.
Yeah. So, and the Bible is full of business lessons.
With the whole book of Proverbs. You know, I've over my lifetime, probably the last 30 years, a proverb a day will keep stupidity away, Jim. And Proverbs is full of business principle.
Yeah. And so it's a great way to bring these two together. We know we have a lot of great businesses and companies that are based on Christian principles, that do things the right, and they don't have to talk about it. They just do things the right way. They do things ethically. They do things with credibility. If they say something, they back it up. You know, you always under promise and over deliver. You know, that's the way to do it. And this organization, MVP, is a great way to connect with your pastor. It might not even have to be your pastor. It could be someone else's pastor, because there's always great opportunity in helping out there and making sure that we're getting back to where we need to be spiritually in this country. And I think that's one of the reasons that you're doing what you're doing is because whether you like it or not, and whether anybody listening to this agrees with me or not, a lot of morality has been lost over the last few decades, and we need to find our way back.
No doubt about it. We've had some erosion take place.
Yeah.
And then even social medias and access has created more of that. And so there is a movement back toward that foundational place of, I believe, how we were created and why we were born, and that faith base of how we work together.
You know, you mentioned social media, and I try to keep my politics off there. I just try to post good stuff. Just like this podcast, we never do anything negative. We try to keep it positive and on what's happening. But social media is an easy way for people to attack, vent,
Yes.
and go after others. And a lot of times that you go back and you'll look at someone's Facebook feed or Twitter feed or Instagram feed, and they're talking about what great Christians they are, and then the next post they'll be, throwing somebody under the bus.
You better believe it, brother.
So, I tell my students that I teach at WKU, and anybody that'll listen, don't ever get engaged in an argument on social media. You know why? Because nobody's ever won an argument on social media.
That's right.
So you'll never convince someone otherwise. And so let's keep things happy and positive. And I see signs sometimes in people's yard that just say, "Be kind."
Yeah, that's right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with it. Whenever I met Albert Bonfu, who is here in our city and part of the International Refugee Center, I went to him and I said, Albert, what could the local church, when I pastored here in Bowling Green, I said, what could Christians do in this community as it relates to the International Center? And he said this, just what you just said. He said, Pastor Dave, could I encourage you just to encourage your people to be nice?
Yeah.
Just be nice,
Nothing
right?
Nothing wrong with that.
It don't cost a whole lot. Just be nice.
Doesn't cost anything. But we just live in a kind of a dog eat dog world at times. But the good thing is, I think I'm seeing a shift where people are turning back to their churches and going back. I like to talk a little bit about you because not only are you involved in MVP, but you came to Bowling Green. I don't know how long. What year did you come to Bowling Green? 2012?
2012.
Yeah. And we lived down the street from each other.
We did.
We were neighbors, and you planted a church here. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, in 2012, I left as executive pastor of Cornerstone Church in Nashville, large mega church there, and came up here and planted a church and was here for 7.5 years. And that's where I met you, Jim. I'll never forget. I've told a number of people, my first friend outside of the church was Jim DeCesare when I came to Bowling Green. I thought, man, there's a state representative, and he loves the Lord, Yeah. It was awesome.
I'm a recovering politician now.
Yeah, absolutely. And you were just so gracious. So in coming here, I was here 7.5 years and then turned that church over to a young couple and went more into the nonprofit sector, and then was executive pastor of another church. And now, along with MVP, I also do some fractional executive type work for churches or businesses just to help them with their system and structure.
Yeah. And you went down to Texas for a little while, but I think what the great part of this story is that you can do your job that you have now from anywhere, and you decide you want to do it in Bowling Green.
That's exactly right. Man, I didn't know that I would ever come back to Bowling Green, Jim, but I've got 5 other kids. So we still have 2 at home. I've got 7 kids, so 1 for every day of the week.
Yeah.
5 are grown, 13 grandkids, and they're all back here. Well, my 2 youngest, who are used to living with their siblings, they were ready to get back home. So we came back and now do a lot of traveling with business people and also helping churches.
Yeah, but you do it all here based in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and that's the good thing.
Listen, I love Bowling Green. I haven't been around another chamber of commerce anywhere in Texas like Bowling Green, Kentucky.
No, it's the best.
And leadership structure, relationally with business people and with churches, some great pastors in this town, and the pastor that is pastoring Centerpoint. He and Jacob Kristen, they're just doing a great job.
And Centerpoint's a church that you planted here a few years back.
Yeah.
Which is the old Eastwood?
Glenwood
yeah.
Baptist Church,
the
down
old
on Roselawn Way. We went in and restored that. We bought that building. It was older, and built first wing of it was built in 1952 or something. We took that thing over, went in and remodeled it, and they've just continued there and just doing great.
Yeah, Amy and I, we attended church there. I think we went and visited there in 2024. It's after you were gone, but we went in like October of 2024.
Okay.
We were searching for a new church, and we visited a few, and we went to that one as well. Checked it out. Had a great time, and knew some people there. It was a great church. And it all started with a vision that Dave Deerman had, and some great people that were a part of that.
Yeah, it was
getting that started. So, how can people find out more about MVP and get connected with you?
That's a good question. MVP, our website is mvpleadergroup.com.
And I'll put that in the show notes.
mvpleadergroup.com. You can call me at 432-488-9903. Okay. And you can also email me at dave@mvpleadergroup.com.
And if you go to their website, there's a leadership page of your pictures on there with your contact information, so they can reach out to you if they want to, see what they can do to help, especially, all the business people that listen to this podcast, how they may be able to help their pastor out.
Absolutely, man. We would love to be involved in that and be an encouragement.
And what advice can you give anybody listening to this podcast on, how they can do more?
Well, I would say this. Don't take people you meet every day for granted. Mm-hmm. The hand you shake today, Jim, can be the hand of provision for tomorrow. And that's in business, that's in church work and everything else. Yeah. Relationships are important. And I think that we run by people because we're so busy with our own thing.
Yeah.
Relationships. But more than that, faith, family, finances, fitness, and are all very, very important.
Fellowship.
And fellowship.
Let's throw some fellowship
yeah,
in there.
I agree with that.
Yeah. And, it's just do what you can to be, I used to, when I was younger, someone always said, go out there and be a good citizen.
You better believe it.
And that includes being a part of your faith-based citizenship as well, whatever your faith is.
You better believe it. I believe that. In all the tension of everything that we're involved in, the core of it is we still were all put on this earth at the same time, and we need to encourage each other, love it, honor, encourage, and connect. That's what MVP is about.
That's it. Anything that I left out that you want to talk about?
No, sir, Jim. I thank you. I thank you for being my friend. I thank you for the invitation to be on here. It's been a privilege and honor.
Well, I appreciate you being my 101st
guest
sir. On the DeCesare Group Podcast.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to be kicking off the new year for you.
All right, Dave Deerman, thanks for being on the DeCesare Group Podcast.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks again to Dave Deerman for being my guest today on the DeCesare Group Podcast. And if you like what you hear, please share it with a friend. And don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Leave us a review and share your feedback with us. You can also follow the DeCesare Group across all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, and YouTube. And you can even subscribe to our weekly newsletter, Soki Economic Development and Business News, by going to our website, thedecesaregroup.com. The DeCesare Group Podcast is produced by the DeCesare Group, a public relations and consulting firm based in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Our engineer and spiritual leader is Justin DeCesare, with content contributions for Brooke Mattingly. The DeCesare Group Podcast is researched by Amy DeCesare. I'm Jim DeCesare, inviting you to join us again next time for the DeCesare Group Podcast.